In this video, we'll look at using Geogebra to draw and then measure the area of a triangle. So I'm going to use my polygon tool and clicking on the intersection of grid lines. I'm going to go point A here, and then let's go 4 across. Click and put point B, and let's go up here and go back to the start and click, and there's my triangle. And once again, we can move the labels for the sides and the labels for the vertices. Okay, so I need to draw a perpendicular line to the base from C, because that will be the height of my triangle. To do that, we have a tool over here, and we have a number of options. The first one was perpendicular line. If I choose that, now click on point C and click on the baseline here, and we've now got a perpendicular line. I want to put a point at the intersection of the base and that perpendicular line. So we have our point tool over here. If I click and find intersect, if I now move to the intersection and click, it places a point at that intersection. So if I were to move things around a little bit here, let's move point C down to there. If you worked out the area of this shape, let's move point T a little bit. So this area within, we can count the number of squares. We've got 1 square here, 2. Now there's a half and a half. That makes another hole. That's 3 squares. A half and a half, another hole. That's 4 squares. So the area of that shape there will be 4. Now the formula for a triangle is half the base times the height. So to end up getting 4, well, the base is equal to 1, 2, 3, 4. The height is equal to 2. So 4 times by 2 is 8. If we half that, we get the area of 4. And we can use the input bar down here again to write a formula. So I want to do length C, which is the base length, times by the length from D to C, which I haven't measured yet. So I need to use the measured tool up here, and we've chosen distance or length. So click on point C, click on point D, and down here it's now worked out the distance of CD is 2 units. Again, let's move that label a little bit. So now I can do length C, the base, times by distance CD, which is the height. So I'm going to type in lowercase c and then multiply. Now I need to type in distance CD, and then I'm going to divide all that by 2 and enter that, and we end up with a value of 4, which is the area of that triangle. Now if I were to change the dimensions, once again with the move tool, if I were to lift point C back up to here, then the area is now 6, which is 1, 2, 3, 4 times by 1, 2, 3, which is 12 divided by 2. If I were to move point B across to here, the area is now 7.5. And if we have our base length of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and the height is 3, so 5 times by 3 is 15. Half of 15 is our 7.5. So we can see the formula, a half of the base times by the height would give you the area. Now, what if I were to move point C so it's not actually directly above the base, so that the height is actually outside of the figure that is the triangle? The formula is still going to be the same. So we've got a base length of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and the height is still 1, 2, 3. So therefore the area is still going to be 7.5, although this program hasn't worked it out here because I now no longer have that perpendicular height. So let's fix that by putting a point here, and then I can measure the distance from that point to C. So with my point tool, I'm going to put a point at that position there. Now I can measure the distance from that new point to point C. So that is length EC. So now in my formula down here, once again, my base is still C. So I've got C, and then I need to make sure it's lowercase, C, and then times that by distance EC. And then divide all of that by 2 and hit enter on that. And let's go down here. 15 divided by 2, which is 7.5. So it gives us the correct area.